Hello and welcome to another edition of 10 Count from Santa Monica, California. I'm Michael Montero, joined by Doug Fischer of Ring TV and Mike Baca of UCN Live. Guys, September 10th, there is kind of this transcontinental fight thing happening on HBO, regular HBO, actually, not HBO pay-per-view, believe it or not. Triple G Gennady Golovkin is defending his titles against Kell over in the O2 Arena in London, and here in the United States, just down the street from here at the Forum, we have Gonzalez Cuadras and the rematch between Soto Karass and Yoshihiro Kamegai. Let's start with the main event. Doug, a lot has been made comparisons to the Canelo fight earlier this year, Canelo Khan, because again, we have a middleweight fighting a welterweight. Is this Canelo Khan Part 2, or is this something different?
No. Well, with Canelo Alvarez and Amir Khan, there was an interesting style matchup in which you figured the speed and the lateral movement of Amir Khan could trouble Canelo, who's had trouble with fighters with that sort of athleticism, employing that kind of a style against him. And I don't think you can compare Amir Khan as a welterweight to Kell. Amir Khan is a guy who started his career at lightweight, was knocked out at lightweight, also suffered a knockout loss at junior welterweight, had his chin wobbled a couple times above 140 pounds, was a respected welterweight contender, but not a welterweight title holder. Kell is undefeated. He began his career at welterweight. He's fought heavier than welterweight against solid opposition. He's always looked pretty good. In fact, he's only had like really one shaky fight that I know of. And I've been a Kell fan for a long time. And that was his first fight against Carson Jones. Ironically, Carson Jones trained in Big Bear with Abel Sanchez before that first fight with Kell. It was a tough 12-rounder for Brook. He gutted it out. It was basically his first and only real gut check before he won a world title. He knocked out Carson Jones in a rematch over the weight. They fought basically at junior middleweight. So Brook is, in my opinion, and in the opinion of Ring Magazine, he's the #1 welterweight in the world. He's undefeated. He's a title holder. He's beaten solid guys heavier than 147 pounds. So his reputation is pretty strong going into a middleweight title fight. And in the past in boxing, many times, not just with all-time greats like Henry Armstrong or Sugar Ray Robinson or Jose Napoles or Thomas Hearns or Sugar Ray Leonard, we've had like the top talent in the welterweight division step up in weight to challenge the top dog at middleweight. It's kind of like boxing tradition. So I like the matchup in that regard, but also I will give Gennady Golovkin a bit of a pass in fighting a lighter guy. Now, a lot of people rip Canelo for picking on a little guy. And you can do the same with Golovkin, but you also have to understand that he was out of options. They had wasted a lot of time trying to negotiate with Team Canelo and Golden Boy Promotions. That was basically postponed. They postponed those talks until next year. Then it looked like Chris Eubank Jr. was not just going to talk the talk, but walk the walk. There were real negotiations happening. It got all the way to the 11th hour, and Eubank Sr. basically made some crazy demands that ruined that fight. And it was basically, the fight was in jeopardy of not being able to happen, of not being able to happen in the UK against a viable opponent. And Eddie Hearn, the promoter of both Kell and Eubank Jr., just gave the same offer to Kell, and he accepted the money. They basically, they finished that deal in 24 hours.
So I understand. Rubbed out the names and just
switched the names out. And listen, it was the best deal that they could make given the circumstances, because it was still a huge event in the UK. And if you're Gennady Golovkin, you want to be a worldwide brand, because he already is a name in many parts of the world. But it's good. It looks good on Golovkin's resume to have not just sold out major arenas in the U.S. like Madison Square Garden or the Forum, but O2 Arena in London. That's a big deal. And there's going to be a huge media blitz in the weeks going into that fight. It's going to make Golovkin like a household name in the UK, which arguably is the strongest market for boxing right now.
The UK boxing is on fire. I don't think that could be denied. Mike, is this from a fan perspective, and we know there's a lot of Triple G haters out there, is this a lose-lose situation for Golovkin, or how can this be a winning situation for him?
A lose-lose situation, maybe for Golovkin, sure. If there's any moments of doubt from Golovkin in that fight, of course, questions are going to be raised. Me personally, I don't really like the fight, to be quite honest. Simply because Golovkin's narrative has always been, you know, I'm a middleweight, I fight at 160, I only want to fight middleweights. Step in Kell Brook, who, yeah, he's one of the best welterweights. I'm not comfortable calling him the best welterweight, but he's big for his size, sure. I mean, you gotta look at it realistically. They stand together. They're not that big of a size differential. But Golovkin, there's a little bit of hypocrisy there when he says, you know, Canelo's fighting Khan, he's way too small, and obviously he was right. And we were all right in predicting that fight, it being a shellacking of Khan. And hopefully it doesn't go that way with this fight. I think Brook will give a better performance than what Dominic Wade did back in April.
Of course.
I don't think it can get worse than that, quite frankly. And Wade was a mandatory opponent, but he was a middleweight, undefeated at that. It not being pay-per-view makes the fight okay with me.
Right.
And you know, as opposed to Canelo Khan, where we had to shell out $65 to watch what we already knew what was going to happen.
Right.
And this one, I hopefully it's going to be more competitive. We have not seen guys compete with Golovkin, you know, and give him a firefight that he seeks out every time he steps in the ring. And that's why he's must-see television. You cannot not watch Golovkin. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You have to watch him. He delivers on every fight, and he leaves you wanting more.
Talking about win-win, lose-lose situations, I think one way HBO really saves face, and they've had a rough year with a lot of pay-per-views, this is on regular HBO, and it has a really, really strong co-feature. Roman Chocolatito Gonzalez, who many people feel is the best fighter pound for pound right now. He's already won titles at 108 and 112. Now he's moving up to 115 pounds to fight Carlos Cuadras, to go for a title there, another undefeated fighter from Mexico. Doug, there's been some talk that Chocolatito may have had trouble making weight against Arroyo in his last fight, and it may have affected his performance.
I think he did.
Do you think this will make him stronger, gaining those extra 3 pounds?
Yeah, absolutely. I think he did struggle to make weight in his last fight against McWilliams Arroyo. I think it did affect his performance a little bit, but I want to also give credit to McWilliams. He was a quality fighter. He was a legit flyweight contender and a former amateur star, and he did about as well as anybody can do against Gonzalez, who I definitely think is hands down, pound for pound, the #1 fighter on the planet. He didn't just win titles at 108 and 112. He won titles at strawweight, 105, 108, 112. So this will be his attempt to win a 4th title in a 4th weight class. If he does that, he becomes the first fighter from Nicaragua ever to achieve that. The only other fighter from Nicaragua who even attempted that is the late, great Alexis Arguello, who was in fact his mentor, his amateur trainer, somebody who got him involved in boxing and basically gave him his boxing foundation. So there's a lot of great storylines with this fight, but I don't think any of the storylines beat the matchup itself. It's a terrific matchup. Carlos Cuadras is unbeaten in 36 fights. I think he's 35-0-1 with like 25 knockouts. Yeah. He's versatile. The guy can stick and move. He can stand and trade. He can come forward. He's got power. If he's not the #1 junior bantamweight in the world, he's #2, just behind the guy from Japan, Inoue. Yeah, Inoue. Yeah, the monster. But the monster has just got great talent. He's only got 10 fights. Yeah. You know what I mean? He isn't as proven as Cuadras is at 115 pounds. So to take on in your first fight at 115 a guy like Cuadras, that's what pound for pound guys do. Absolutely. That's why you got to love Chocolatito. You know, there's the big drama show in Gennady Golovkin. This is the little drama show, and I think he's proven and paid enough dues to headline his own show, particularly here in Southern California where he's fought before, and he does have a growing fan base. The forum was originally scaled for about 8,000 seats. I think they're going to have to pull that back a little bit. I think we at least get 10,000 fans in the forum to witness Gonzalez Cuadras, but also to witness the rematch between Soto Karass and Yoshihiro Kamegai. I don't know what these guys have left after their tough careers. I mean, Soto Karass has been in boxing for 15 years.
The hard
fighting,
way too.
yeah, fighting nothing but hard fights and being like a gatekeeper. He's always in there with tough guys. He's in there with prospects, up and comers, and legit contenders. And he's taken his lumps, as has Kamegai. But these guys delivered when they stepped into the ring in April of this year. And I just think with their styles and their mentalities and their pride, they're going to give us another blood and guts affair.
I think that fight actually could be better the second time around because Soto Karass was coming off a 2-year layoff.
That's a good point. I forgot about that.
And Kamegai, I think he had one fight in between a year before that where he actually fought a real guy. So I think the second time around is going to be a much better fight. As for Cuadras Chocolatito, I got really excited for this fight at the press conference. Not only because Carlos Cuadras had fun with it, he brought out chocolate milk in the press conference saying, and then afterwards said he's going to knock out Chocolatito. Not everybody does that.
No.
Because they know they're going against the pound for pound best.
Yeah, and not just an elite boxer, but a punisher.
Yes.
Yeah.
Dude who is stalking you, who knows how to cut the ring off every bit as good as Golovkin can, but is more active. He's constantly mixing his punches up to the body and the head and back down again. Both hands, combination punching from the opening round and for however long the opponent can take it, can sustain that. Most guys can't take it, and if they can take it, they got to kind of move around a lot and give up rounds as McWilliams did. But Cuadras' personality, it suggests that he's just got that confidence where he's not just going to go in there to survive. He's going to try to win.
He's enjoying the limelight, definitely. And one other thing about the press conference, when they went face-to-face, you could see the size difference on Cuadras.
Right.
And, I mean, big props to Chocolatito for taking this fight. I mean, wow. I don't see any scenario where I go against him in any fight. But, man, it's going to be a thriller.
Let me ask you guys this. The fight is at the Forum, like we said, and most fight crowds here in Los Angeles are predominantly Mexican-American. Chocolatito is going up against a Mexican fighter. Do you think there's a possibility that the crowd might, maybe if Cuadras starts to really perform and play up things during fight week, could they become a pro-Cuadras crowd in that fight?
I think he'll have his fans entering the ring. I think the fans will be louder for Chocolatito. He's fought in that arena twice before. He's fought on HBO a couple of times now. And for hardcore Los Angeles fans, they remember maybe watching Chocolatito fight at the Pomona Fairgrounds like 5 or 6 years ago. Or in late 2012, fighting Juan Estrada at the Sports Arena.
I was just going to say, at the that was his first LA fight.
Yeah, that was his first big. Yeah, that was his first fight actually in Los Angeles. So they know about him, and as his stature has grown in the sport, his fan base has grown, and it's not just Nicaraguans; it's Mexican fans. Mexican fans appreciate a fighter with Chocolatito's talent and style and mentality to challenge himself. So I think the majority of fans are going to be very louder for Chocolatito walking into the ring. If Cuadras is in there and competing and giving a sincere effort, and really making a fight of it, that Mexican pride is definitely going to swell. And I know for a fact we're going to hear chants of Cuadras. Absolutely. I don't know if it'll be Cuadras or just Cuadras, but whatever. They're going to cheer for their man.
Yeah, and one last thing, 115-pound division. It's going to go through an exciting time with not only Chocolatito entering it, I believe from October 31st to September 10th, all 4 titles will be on the line. So they're all entering the same kind of schedule, and we'll see where it goes from here.
It's going to be fun seeing everything get unified, and when Estrada gets into the mix.
He'll be
the
moving
Filipino
up. Yeah.
fighter, I think Danny Nietes wants to fight Estrada. He's fighting out here at StubHub later this year, I believe. So there's a lot of fun happening in that division. Real quick, around the horn, predictions for all 3 fights.
I like Golovkin by late stoppage in a fairly competitive bout. I favor Chocolatito by decision in a hotly contested contest. I'm talking close decision, maybe majority, but I think Chocolatito gets it done with his activity. And I have no idea how to, who to pick or who to favor in JSK Kamegai 2. I think, I favored Kamegai in the first bout, which ended in a draw. I actually thought Kamegai won that fight, but I also thought that Soto Karass didn't box to his ability. He says he's going to employ more of a jab in this rematch, and he still says he's going to bring it, and they're going to go tit for tat. They're going to go at it, but he says he's going to try to rely on a little bit more of his ring generalship and his technique. If he does that, I think I'll give him the edge. So JSK by close decision. And a fun fight, of course.
I'll go quickly with Golovkin late TKO, Chocolatito decision. I like that pick, and I'll take Jesus Soto Karass by knockout.
All right, I kind of agree with a mixture of you guys. So, okay, I think that Brook is going to take Golovkin rounds. I think that's going to be a late stoppage win for Golovkin. I think it's going to be more competitive than haters think it should be, and the Twitter chants are going to start that Golovkin's overrated, blah, blah, blah.
Of course.
Bold prediction for the Chocolatito fight. I think Cuadras is going to drop him. I think we're going to see Gonzalez get dropped early in that fight. He's going to come back and win a close decision. And I think that we're going to finally see Kamegai get stopped. I agree with you that JSK is going to stop him.
Guys. Wow.
He's got it, but it's going to crack at some point.
That's true.
And that crowd is going to be nuts in the forum during that fight. Well, that's it, guys. For Doug Fischer and Mike Baca, let us know what you guys think. Comment below. Like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. I'm Michael Montero. We'll see you guys next time on 10 Count.